Yo, welcome to the next episode of the Next Level Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about something cool. All right, we're going to talk about balloons. I love balloons.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, blue balloons, red balloons, purple balloons, yellow balloons, all different types of balloons, man. So, we talked already about subject to. We've talked already about seller financing.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about balloons, man.
All right.
Let's do it. I love balloons.
Balloons. Let's go.
Well, what type of balloons?
Well, what type do you like?
Helium.
Yeah, that's the-
when
that's
you
the
were
one.
younger, did you ever do the helium stuff?
I tried.
No, I didn't do it.
It didn't work for you?
No.
It wasn't helium, dude.
Oh, okay.
Just air. I think you just
It was just there.
Oh.
Yeah.
You gotta get a special type of air?
Well, you gotta get helium.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you get that at?
Well, like Family Dollar or something like that.
Oh.
As long as they fill it up with helium, not air.
Yeah, you never did the helium where you put helium.
Oh, I tried.
If the balloons
Never
float
worked.
up, it's got helium. If the balloons don't float up, then
It's just
it doesn't
regular
have
air.
helium. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just got regular air.
Can afford the helium.
Well, anyways, balloons and real estate investment. What is it? Why do we need to know about it? And how can we use it?
So you're talking about the balloons that like you put on open house, like open house balloons?
Exactly, bro.
Okay.
Dude, you see those. You don't
Yeah.
see the house. You see the red balloon.
Yeah, the red balloon. Yeah.
That's what catches your eye.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So what type of balloon are we talking about?
The real estate investment one.
Okay.
Um,
Explain that to us.
Okay, so think about it this way. You know how when you get a balloon, you got to blow air into it, and it goes from really small, and then it can get big, 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 big. And then depending on the type of balloon, quote, quote, it can get really big, but there's going to be a point where it maximizes its volume, and then that balloon's going to pop.
Right. Right.
And that's why we call it balloon, because there's some sort of analogy that happens in real estate investing that is similar to that. And that's what it's called. It's called a balloon payment. Is that what it is?
Balloon payment. Yep.
A
Okay.
balloon payment. So what is a balloon payment?
Just
That's
its own
pretty
sound
good.
effect. You need to record that.
So it's when your payment
Uh-huh.
balloons
Okay.
Mm.
Oh, damn. I see what you're doing there.
Explodes.
balloons to
Oh, okay.
either a different value or it could explode, meaning
Okay.
that everything, that all payments are due.
Okay, I see what you mean. Like the stream of air or helium going into the balloon are the monthly payments or whatever is on the note that you're making payments for. And at some point, after so many payments or after so much time, the balloon pops and you just got to pay everything off.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're talking about we're talking about balloon payments. So basically you could set that up. So that's part of creative financing. This is the series of creative financing. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, that is what we're doing. Yep.
yeah, so you can set up a creative way to make payments.
Yep.
And say you don't, say somebody says, "Hey, I want X amount of dollars in my pocket in 5 years. I want $100,000 in 5 years. You can make me payments, but in 5 years, I'm gonna need $100,000 of this money." So say
okay.
you take a $200,000 loan,
Yeah.
and you're like, "I'll make payments on all 200K, but I'll accept those from you, but."
Mhm.
On year 5, you either have to pay all 200K back or whatever term, or at that time you have to give me another $100,000.
Mm.
Okay, so you don't necessarily have to let it pop.
There could be
but it
multiple
just
balloons
Yeah, exactly.
that explode at different instances.
Different
Yeah,
instances,
different
yeah.
periods of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, there's 1,000 ways to create it, to structure it.
Damn. Can we have as many balloons as the house in Up did?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could carry it
Damn,
right
it's
off.
up to your imagination, investors. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so you can just add these balloons on and these amounts that come due during the periods of the life of the loan.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice way. A couple of different things. Tax advantages for the seller, so they don't get all the money up at once.
Oh,
but
they
if
call
they
it
want
the,
some nice
the
lump sums along the way,
is it called the gains tax or something like that?
capital gains.
Capital
Capital
gains.
Yeah,
Going
so
to the gym too much?
Yeah.
it happens to people.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a
Doesn't
lot of
happen to
the
me.
a lot of the the
It
apartment
happens to Bailey. He's got the gains.
apartments and apartments and usually a lot of seasoned investors like structure certain payments. Like we have properties where we'll do a seller finance deal and the seller's like, hey, don't pay me off. I don't want you to. You cannot pay me off. We'll do let's say you don't pay me off in 3 years. You can't pay me off in 3 years because it's a tax. I don't want to pay the capital gains. But in, let's say, 5 years or 6 years, I want a balloon payment. And you need to pay me off by that time, whether you refinance, whether you just got cash out of your mattress, whatever you got to do. You got to pay me off.
Oh,
at that time.
dang. So it's not just like, this isn't something that the buyer can apply. The seller can even like have their own terms with
Yeah,
the balloons.
yeah,
Like, it
some-
goes both ways.
Exactly. And so that's the seller side, and then the buyer side could be like, well, hey, listen, I'm going to have this money in like 3 years. Or I can save it up, or I'm going to be selling a property in the next couple years, and I'll have the money for you. So can I make you payments along the way,
Yeah.
and I'll give you a balloon. I'll give you a one-time chunk of payment or pay it all off in 3 years.
Okay.
Because right now I don't have the money. I'm good for the payments.
Yeah, you can make the $1,500 a month, no
Yeah,
problem.
Exactly.
But you just can't pay the whole entire thing.
Right.
But you're telling me that in 5 years, you'll like, boom, for sure I'll have the money to pay everything off.
I'll pop the balloon.
Now, what happens if you don't?
Well, then, yeah, you could be,
Going to the dungeon.
yeah, you could put yourself into a bad spot. There could be penalties where they say at this point, now your interest rate goes from like, say, 5 or 6% goes to 20%.
So you don't necessarily lose the property. It's
No.
one of the possibilities, but things could be worked around. We're like, okay, as a consequence, I'm going to raise you the interest rate if you want to keep the house.
Yeah, I'm
If
going to make it so uncomfortable that if you're going to keep that, hang on to this, you're going to not pay me out, I'm going to charge you this crazy interest.
consequences.
Another thing that happens is you can make an agreement with the seller, be like, okay, let's do a 30-year amortization. So what amortization does, it allows the buyer to know, okay, this is what my monthly payments are going to be. The smaller the amortization, the higher the monthly payment is, right? So let's say it's a 30-year amortization, which is, like what a lot of times what banks do and stuff like that with houses. And let's say you make an agreement with the seller on the seller finance, and you make an agreement, okay, we'll do a balloon payment in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But verbally or in an agreement, in writing, you can tell the seller, like, okay, and as long as the seller's okay with it, you'd be like, okay, I want a balloon in 5 years, but maybe I won't need the money at that time, so let's reconsider. Maybe we can restructure it in 5 years. But at this point, expect a balloon in 5 years.
Okay, I gotcha.
It's not a black and white, like it can be restructured as long as it's in writing. Sometimes it is black and white, so many ways to structure.
Yeah, you might get to it and say, hey, I can't give you the 100. I can't pay it all the way off. I can give you another 30,000 at this time.
Like another down payment.
And then maybe now that was 5 years ago, and now I was paying you 6% interest. Now it goes to 8, and you amortize it over whatever you make a payment amount. So the idea is that you get flexible so that it benefits both the buyer and sellers. We always talk about having a win-win situation.
It's got to be.
And so you got to make a deal happen, and usually the seller's got to be in the position to be able to do that. That's the cool part.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll do it, but they're not in the position to do it.
Oh yeah,
You gotta
100%.
You got to own the property free and clear to
Yeah.
get creative like that.
Yeah, so you could do like a lot of times if the seller doesn't need the cash, that's a prime seller finance opportunity that you can pitch. And then you can, like I said, there's so many ways. We could talk here all day about ways to structure it, but you can do like a down payment of like, okay, I'll give you 10% down of the purchase price, and then a balloon payment in 5 years or 6 years or whatever, and 30-year amortization. So if that kind of sounded like drinking through a water hose, it's basically the way you structure a deal to where you make sure, like Anthony said, it's a win-win for everybody.
100%.
So you can, 1,000 ways to skin the cat.
So I'm noticing a trend here with either subject to seller financing or even balloon, and I'm going to say across all the board. Does it start with a note? You got to write up a note.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So the note, that's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, the note secures the property and notes the instructions basically of who pays what, when, where.
Sets the expectations and everything. It's like a written contract almost.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
It is. It is. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's balloon, man. As you can see, just like Bailey said, there are so many ways you can structure a balloon. It's crazy. It's up to your imagination, but most of the time you want to do it so it's a win-win situation with both buyer and the seller. That's another way of doing creative financing. So far, we've covered subject to
Mm-hmm.
seller financing and balloons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's real quick talk about situations like, okay, when should I expect a balloon? Let's say you're negotiating a deal. If a lot of times a pushback on a note that you like, let's say me and Felix are making a deal, and you're the seller and I'm the potential buyer, and I say, hey Felix, let's create a note, and it'll be a 30-year amortization, which means I'll pay you $1,000 a month. Okay, I'll give you 10% down of 200,000, so I'll give you 40,000 down, and then pay you, whatever. Let's call it $1,000. Just keep numbers wrong. I don't know the number off the top of my head. But you push back and like, dude, 30-year amortization. I don't want to wait 30 years to get the rest of my 160,000, and interest or whatever. So something I can say to you, okay, well, how about we create a balloon payment? And you're like, what's that? And that's what this is. So that you feel like, okay, Felix, I'll do a balloon payment with you in 5 years. So now you feel like, okay, because it was in your eyes, it was a win for me, because I'm doing the seller finance. I can make payments over 30 years. But to you feel
that's
like
too
you
long,
lost.
man. I'm probably gonna be dead at the
Exactly.
12 years,
which
yeah.
is which is a common answer. So you can say, okay, well, let's do a balloon payment. So now you feel like, okay, it's a win for me too. It's a win-win. It's a compromise opportunity. So that's something that to think about too. If you're, an investor listening, and okay, when should I pitch this? It's so many situations, but that's one way you can think about it.
Yeah, and you can do several balloons along the way. It doesn't have to be. You can say, hey, every 2 years I give you another 20 grand. So you just look at it like a bunch of payments of $1,500, then 20 grand
every 2
like
years.
on the 24th payment.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And then goes back down, then again. And then the other thing is typically you're going to do this because you might be confident that you're going to sell that property. And so you're like, well, I don't have the money to give them for the down payment because I want to save that money for the repair cost or whatever.
Right.
I want to do something to the property. So I got to take, $50,000, $80,000, put it inside the property. But when I do that, instead of having to use it towards my down payment, I can put it into the property, secure the property, put it into the property, fix it up, rent it, or wait till that 5th year to pay them off, refinance it because it's worth more. You can give them cash to make that balloon payment, or you can just sell it and just pay the balloon payment with it. So that's usually the reason. There needs to be an end goal when you negotiate that. Because if you could be like, in every 2 years I'll give you $20K. Well, where are you getting the $20K? There's got to be a path.
Yeah.
It's in your mind, like I'll be able to save that money in 2 years, or I'm selling other properties. I'll be able to do that, pay the $20K, or if it's a big balloon like $100,000, hey, I'll do this for this property. I really want this property, but I know I'm gonna be selling a property next year, and with that money, I'll pay this off. And so typically, you want to also, if you know you have a balloon coming due, you want to start preparing for it. So you got to start looking. It's not something that you just say, "Oh yeah, I got a balloon in 5 years." And
yeah, you gotta make sure you're able to hold your end.
Yeah, you worry about it like in 4 years and in 11 months. You kind of just want to prep yourself for making those strategic
Be prepared
moves.
for it. Account for it on your
it's all strategy
calculations.
And so that's what we do. I mean, we've done that in several properties. And like Bailey said, a lot of times seller will tell you like, hey, for capital gains reasons, or just because I want the monthly income, I own this property free and clear. I don't want all the money right now. I just want you to, like some interest on the property. Instead of selling you the property and I get my money and I pay taxes on it, and then I got to put it in the bank and figure out how to make money on it, I'll just sell it to you.
Yeah.
You're going to be basically, I'm putting it into the bank, which is the property. And that bank is now going to return the interest that I'm going to set forth in the contract.
Yeah.
So. And
there's a lot of ways you can make this an advantage for you as an investor, because we talked about. Should I grab that?
Yeah, that's.
I would maybe end it. Yeah.
It's Bailey's girlfriend. Edgar. Edgar's his name.
Go. Maybe you want to scroll down, put it on silent. Yeah, the little bell thing. There we go.
No, that's okay. That's a live show.
Live show. Let's get it, baby.
Live show.
Yep. But you were saying?
Yeah. So, Okay, as an investor, the way you can use this to your advantage is if you do a seller finance deal to where, let's say you tell the seller, like, hey, yeah, I'll give you, let's say it's a $200,000 house, and you say, hey, I'll give you, let's say 5% down, which is what, 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you can do is you can do like a lease option, lease to own, and you can tell whoever's going to buy the property, say, hey, you do, hey, this is a lease option. The tenant's like, yeah, I don't have the money now, but would you carry me? You could do what's called a wrap. So you can do, if you're putting 10,000 down, you could tell whoever the potential new owner is going to be, who's currently renting it. You could say, hey, give me 20,000 down.
Mm-hmm.
And if your payment's $1,000 a month with the note, you can tell the tenant, pay me $1,500 a month. So now you just made 10 grand off the top, and you're making $500 cash flow for however you structure it.
That's right.
So
yeah. So as you can see, there's so many ways that this could be used.
mm-hmm.
That could benefit you. That could benefit the seller. But just so you know, this balloon payment is a device that could be used to help you with seller financing or subject to. It's a tool that is used within the tool. Every scenario, it's a part of something. Like, for example, seller financing, and we add a balloon to that. Subject to, you can add a balloon to that as well. So it's a device you should definitely learn more about and use it. See if you can use it, and it can pretty much help you if you're trying to close a deal or you're trying to make something happen. That could be the difference between making a deal happen or not.
Exactly.
So, yeah, man, balloons, they're awesome. It's up to your imagination how you want to structure it. And there's so many ways. We could be sitting here all day long, all week long, just talking about all the different ways of doing it. That's what's so cool about it.
Right.
But we're going to end it there. And if you want to know anything more, you're welcome to come into the office at any time. We have our Yuma REI monthly meetings every second Thursday of every month over at the Sheraton Hotel 4 Points. And it's great. We'd love to have you there. Thank you guys so much. See you on the next one. We're Next Level Home Buyers. We don't buy properties. We buy problems.